Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Fire and Ice, aka previously Fire Gods 2, and I will be attempting to bring you gameplay of various sorts. I don't have any particular channel preferences in terms of games. I like pretty much almost any kind. I have kind of stopped playing certain ones, but that's probably not going to be a situation worth noting. And these are going to be very unprofessional recordings, as I am still fairly new to recording, so don't be surprised if there are lots of ums, ands, buts, nors, or fors, and a little bit of information about how I record. I just talk about random things while I'm playing. I don't really have any particular rhyme or reason. Usually I just kind of talk, kind of like a few YouTubers I know out there. But hopefully you all will enjoy my content, even though right now I'm sure I only have a couple subscribers. But for now, let's try and see how this works out. Alrighty. I haven't played this game in ages. I like playing in dwarvish moderation, honestly, because going rogue is pretty impossible, and that's just no fun, even though it says elves just won't have fun. We're just gonna do permadeath because I just like it that way, and some of my screen's slightly blocked out. That's cool. Alrighty, and now we get to choose a set of skills just so we're a little better off, and it kind of can suit your play style. So if you like certain things on here, there's certain things like you can do axes, and that has a little perk system of its own. And you could be a staff user, which grants bonuses to wizards, I believe. You can do throwing weapons if you really like throwing weapons. You can do archery, which includes crossbows as well. Actually, I think crossbows are the only weapon in terms of range besides throwing. So, and then there's dual wielding, which just increases the effectiveness, so you can combine like swords and axes into dual wielding, which gives you, like I said, bonuses towards wielding two weapons, and it reduces the penalties to wielding it in your left or right hand based on, if you were left or right hand to begin with. So there's also random things like archaeology, which gives you little bonuses, like the fedora, which actually gives you some bonuses, which is kind of funny. A lot of this, in this game, you'll find that a lot of things are very punny and jokey, so nothing is taken too terribly seriously. There are some times when you'll find that things are a little bit too serious, because you'll open what is called a zoo room, which you'll see in this playthrough more than likely, and those are insanely crazy, and you usually need a lot of OP weapons to kill them all. So let's see, what should we do? I'm thinking that we should try... I think we're going to go for the heavy hitters, so we're going to probably do maces, because maces have a lot of perks. Nice perks for survivability. We're going to pick up armor for protection, and let's see, what else should we do? Yeah, I think we're going to... Where did blacksmithing go? There you are. Smithing is very nice. We don't want to restrict ourselves to one weapon in particular, so we might want to pick up swords to be safe. And I don't think we should really pick up any magic wand shields. This is probably the first time I'm going to be playing like this, actually, so it'll be an interesting showmanship on my own part to see how long I can even survive. And I think that's how we'll base it, is how long I survive, is how many episodes. And, oh, just another thing I just remembered. Episodes will probably last between 15 to 30 minutes. I will attempt to time them, and if they don't quite land on 30 minutes when I stop recording, I'll probably just split them up, or I can record batches of videos and just split it into pieces, and then put an introduction on each video and all that, if I can actually get to that point in skill, that is, because I'm not very skilled at this. Okay, let us see. I think we're also going to pick up archery just so we can have a little bit of versatility, and what should we do? I think we better pick up tinkering. Excuse me. Wow, I'm editing that out. I think we're gonna pick up tinkering though, because it'll probably work out best for us since we have a bunch of melee perks, we have archery, and then we'll have 2 crafting perks. It'll take up more resources more than likely, so I'll have to be more frugal, but it just helps out in some regards, because I believe there's perks down the line that allow you to see traps and stuff more often, so that'll be nice. And in general, we're just going to be running around hitting things, basically with maces and swords, smashing their faces in, slashing them, and we just have bonuses that we get from smithing and tinkering that will help us every time we level, and archery just for some ranged combat so we're not totally noobs when it comes to shooting. Because you can pick up bows, and you could pick up staves, polearms, axes, and daggers, but they have a deficiency bonus which reduces your capability with them. So let's see. Let's get started. Now we're just gonna be the dude. Back when I first played it, when I watched one YouTuber play it, there was only the guy, but now they've added a girl. We're just gonna call this guy. Let's see. He's not really magic, so I'm not gonna name him my favorite name. I'm just gonna name him. What should I name him? How about Face Smasher? There we go. Perfect name for our character. And here's just a little introduction. You could probably pause the video just to read it real quick. It's just kind of gives you details as to what happened a long time ago. Guy gets locked in dungeon. He returns, like revives or however it is, and he started to release evil creatures. And so the farther down you go, the more evil and dangerous they become, and eventually you can run into them around the 10th floor, I believe it is. And so you're just a single hero instead of multiple heroes, and you're trying to stop them all by yourself, which is one of the foolish things that your character does, in fact. Unfortunately, this hero is you. So, Face Smasher attempts to kill this evil lich. Now this is a turn-based game, so you make turns, you just step once at a time, you can just angle, you can just go in a square pattern. You can't go at angles, you have to basically go in these squares, and you can pick up foods that are on the floor and weapons and all sorts of nice things that drop along the way. There's little vending machines, and right now I don't have any coins, so that's not going to help, but you can essentially pick up things. You can pick up all these things essentially, but at the same time you can also buy them off these. And so once you start picking up a lot of coins, it's useful to just pick up some stuff, and that way you have it, or buy stuff from the vending machines, that way you can use it later. Right now I'll probably be burning through my food a lot since I'm Face Smasher. I'm the melee expert. Okay, you start off with some pretty basic stuff, and usually you start off with a wooden sword, so it's a good thing I chose the sword. And as you can see, it's a wooden sword. It's kind of blunt, I believe, so it does blunt damage. If that is correct, I'm pretty sure it is. And here's where the sarcasm slash punniness rolls in. It's a wooden sword, does 2 damage. It's a sword class. It's very low on the pole of swords, and it also says, this is a wooden sword. It is alarmingly undeadly. Can you find anything that is better? And so there's where it just kind of pokes fun at things like in Minecraft, where you get a wooden sword, you have to go running around beating stuff with essentially a stick, and so it's not very effective. However, it's better than nothing in Minecraft. And so then you see, since I chose the shield perk, I also start with a shield, and it does some basic armor protection. I believe it's actually called block chance. Yes, it is. It gives you some block chance and also some armor absorption, which just it essentially means every time an enemy hits you, it reduces the amount of damage they actually did. So wearing heavy armor obviously is good for reducing that physical damage. However, it doesn't really help against magics. And luckily I don't think this is like RuneScape where if you wear heavy armor, it affects your magic, like how much you get damaged, but I think it does reduce your magical potential in terms of spell casting. Now let's see, we have an iron breastplate. This breastplate has seen better days. Hopefully it will serve you better than its previous owner. And it also gives certain armors give resistances, and that don't. These aren't resistances. These are just numbers, basically. But the resistance is another number, though, that helps determine whether or not you'll resist certain types of damage. So piercing damage is negated a little more in this case. So it allows you to not be stung by 20,000 bees and not feel it. It allows you to be stung and not feel a thing. Well, very little. But anyways, there's all sorts of things. If you get the game, you can essentially sit here and just read everything, and there's a lot of sarcastic, satire-y humor everywhere. And you can see burliness is the primary attribute of the warrior, and it pertains to getting into trouble, hitting one's head on other people, and getting hit by large objects, limbs, persuadopods. I can't even read that. My screen UI is a little small. It also affects your hit points, melee power, and block chance. So as you level up, you'll be able to increase these, I believe. And you can also get stat bonuses on your weapons and armor in this game, which increase your burliness, sagacity, and nimbleness, cattishness, savviness, stubbornness, and these are all perks that are obviously very sarcastically made. Like, stubbornness is the primary attribute of the monk. It enhances self-righteousness and the ability to ignore mean things other people say about you. It affects your magical resistance and block chance. So it essentially makes you harder to kill because it increases your magical resistance and block chance. So, but they added funny, witty things into the game to make it funnier, I guess. And then savvy is the primary attribute of the bard and involves being clever while avoiding trouble. It affects magical haywire chance and sneakiness. That is actually not that sarcastic, but most things in here are. So as you can see, it just tells you different things about what it affects. Spell haywire is just something you can get as a mage, and it just affects the damage. I think it's essentially critical. Ow. And here's our first enemy. If you hit space, I believe it ends your turn. And we're just gonna bash this guy to death. And it's turn-based damage. And as you can see, different numbers are happening. I'm losing some health, but my UI is not very well placed, apparently. And the little medal is experience earned. And there are different things you can use. Okay, let's see. Inventory is pretty basic. It just shows you, and as you can see, since I chose the different perks, I started with certain things. I don't know why I would want that exactly. I think that affects slash damage. Oh, actually, also, and based on what weapon you have, you can see the damages you do up here based on your melee or ranged weapon. And oh, it's crushing damage, which is essentially blunt damage. And so that will basically tell you that, like, what it affects, so it hurts their armor. And slashing, since it's a wooden sword, does a little bit of slashing damage. And so, and here's another example of their humor. Slashing damage is caused when you manage to get the sharp bit of the weapon to cut through the flesh of the other guy. It is affected by your opponent's armor. So if you come up against a skeleton or something that has armor, it won't really do any damage to him as often. Alright, right? And then here are your resistances and different things like your magic power. I have no magic skill on this guy whatsoever, I think, so you won't be able to use it very well. Gold can be picked up just by walking near it, as you can see. And now I have 87 coins, we're just gonna call them. And since I didn't get lockpicking, I have to basically just kick doors in right now, and it also alerts enemies when you do that, if they don't spot you right away. So if you're not invisible and you're lockpicking or kicking doors, it's going to cause problems for you. And even the enemies, if you mouse over them while they're still not attacking, it will give you little satirous comments like, "It's a bat, it flaps, it has teeth, this monster has not noticed your presence," and it'll tell you whether or not they notice you and stuff. And as you can see, there's kind of a range thing that tells you whether or not they found
Critical hit.
like certain enemies will be able to pick you up easier. Okay, Loot Fisk is just an inventory, like a little inventory item you can pick up that comes in later, and it's useful for giving to this guy called the Loot Fisk God, and you essentially just toss in a bunch, and then when you click on him again, he'll be like, it'll say, "Oh, he is happy," and he rewards you with random items. I think random perks as well, possibly. It's just a bunch of nice little things that he'll do sometimes for you. And apparently this Diggle has activated the trap, so I no longer have to worry about stuff.
Critical hit.
And we have a back spawn, apparently. That's good to know. Oh, and see how it was showing like a little fizzle? Yeah, that's those are different types of damage. And right now it's not a very big problem for me because my character has no resistance. Well, he has resistance, but these enemies are so low level at this point that they won't really do much to me anyways, as kind of a mercy thing. And since I'm playing on Dwarven Moderation, and you can see that they also, some of the AIs will occasionally talk, and he says, "Thou art a hack. Thy mother is a hack." And I can shout random things at them too, as you can tell, and I hurt my foot again. I think if I raise my strength and stuff, it'll eventually outweigh the door's ability to block me and my access. I apparently have picked up another crossbow. In this game it's useful to pick up things, unlike certain ones, because it actually, there are actually vendors in the game that you'll run across. There's usually one or two at the most per level, so you can usually find them around, and they'll be able to sell you stuff, or you can buy stuff from them. So it's usually useful to pick up stuff. And after a while, I think I shall find a pocket dimension spell or book or whatever it is, potion, I forget what it was. But it was added like a year ago when I had played at one point, and it allows you to get like this extra dimensional thing that you can go into, and it essentially is like a storage vault for yourself, and it's very handy. And we have found a rusty sword. And we are going to put that right on our character, actually, because it does some acidic damage, or toxic damage. So now our slashing has gone up to 2 because of the sword, and since I have sword skills, I'll be able to toss that in. In fact, I'm going to get to that skill tree in a second, since you guys saw it for just a brief second. And so now my slashing damage is up by 2 or 1 now, and I'm gonna be doing like a toxic damage or acidic damage, however you want to say it. It really doesn't matter in this game. It just kind of all does stuff. And as you can see right here, I guess I'm with bolts. Not that impressive, but they work for ammo. Come on, stupid Diggle. Sometimes the Diggles aren't hostile, but they can be, especially if you find their nest and you try and pick it up. Yeah, it says it's peaceful and not attacking you at the moment. When you go down to further floors, they are definitely not peaceful. And what I did there was a gargoyle trap all the way up here, and what happens is if I was to step on that, it obviously would shoot me with an arrow. And so because of my Tinker spell, I was able to find it. And see, here's another Ooh, a toxic gas sprayer mine. For now, I'm going to avoid that. I'm not going to try and disarm it because my trap disarming skills are not very high. Alright, we're going to pick up this plum, add it to our inventory. My health is at full right now. I don't need to worry too much. Because I haven't been getting hit all that much. So what we're going to do is we're going to just bash this guy anyways. Because we need the XP. And we're getting actually pretty close to leveling up. I'll bring up that tree, the little skills tree, once I've leveled up, probably. That way I can continue. Oh, and I stepped on a blade trap without seeing it. That hurt a little bit. And as your character gets damaged, you'll see that he'll actually get hurt. Like, he'll show like himself getting bloody nose, bruised eyes. He'll start gritting his teeth. It's pretty cool. I like that they added little things like that. And here's another gargoyle trap. Sometimes the gargoyle traps will be poison arrows, and I can disarm a lot of the basic traps that don't explode or electrify and all that stuff, as long as it's not an area of effect one. Boulder one I can disarm, blades I can disarm, arrow traps I can disarm already. If you don't pick up the Tinker's thing, you can still disarm, but almost all traps have a percentile chance of disarming them at that point, and so it becomes a lot harder. You can choose to bash open chests, but sometimes you will not get anything if you bash it. And I don't have any lockpicks either, so... and then it says stuff like, you smashed it up good. And over here earlier it was like, it's a me, face smasher. Kind of like Mario. And as you can see, I apparently I'm not getting anything from those chests. This, I believe you need telekinesis, and I should have thought about picking it up, because it would have been helpful. This would have been a pretty nice ring to start with, because it just gives you some magical resistance. You can craft rings, I believe, in either tinkering and or blacksmithing. I don't know, I think there's some of each in each of them. And they'll just give you various perks according to what they would do, obviously. And apparently we have met a blobby. It is a blob of animated slime, possibly from an adventurer's armpit. Disgusting. This is a monster trying to kill you. And apparently... oh, and there we go. I just leveled up. So when you level up, it gives you this nice little screen showing you that you leveled up. And there's one of the enemies that we'll meet later. And now you get a choice of what perk you want to level. And each of them has various attributes that you gain. Like, for example, if you level up the mechanic or the tinker to let's see how I can say that. Mechaniker? I don't know. That's what it sounds like to me. It gives you some extra, I believe that's caddishness? Or whatever the green one is. It gives you some trap sight, which is the yellow one in the middle, and it gives you the little wrench, which allows you to upgrade. Like, it allows you to access the next tier of tinkering items, which can be very helpful because some traps are exceptionally amazing in some cases. So we could go with that, and it says there's hope yet for a career in repairing. Notoriously unreliable dwarven panini presses. Ah yes, the panini press. That's a really good little gadget to have. And there are other things like suit up, and it just increases your resistances, your block chance. And the nice thing about these is they give you the resistances without even needing to wear armors sometimes. And so it basically just increases your armor and your pierce resistance. So that's a nice little one to have. And then as you go up the tree, things can get a little better. And at the end, you get a massive bonus to your pierce resistance and block chance and dodge chance, I believe. Or no, enemy dodge reduction, I believe. And it basically says you sleep in a cuirass, swim in a hauberk, and dance on sabatons. and it enhances your defense and gives you a chance to trigger suit up when you are hit. And also, something that it doesn't always tell you is some of these abilities actually give you abilities to use when you learn them. And so, suit up, oh yeah, I just remembered, suit up actually is a ability you get. And it goes down into your bar, and when you activate it, it works for 40 turns, and it does give you that pierce resistance and block chance. So, you know, it just gives you a little something. And then, obviously, your shield one increases your block chance a lot. And there is a few ones you can do, like defensive bash. And so it just tells you exactly what it can do for you. Tortoise maneuver. Nice, very nice. And then Shield of the Savant apparently gives you some bonuses towards pierce and block, and basically at the very end you get a lot of good perks for everything, so that's pretty sweet. Let's see. So yeah, and then we have Bolt Thrower, Crossbow Blast, and some of these just do lots of things, like the little yellow crosshairs symbol is going to be your hit chance, I believe, and so that really helps out if you can get that up, because once you're to bullseye, it actually makes your crossbow fairly deadly at that point. Okay, and then we have Maverick, and let's see, so we're gonna try and learn swords since we are already at swords, and it would probably benefit us most at this juncture. Also, blacksmithing is what helps increase your burliness and certain other things. I've actually gotten it up to the World Hammer one time, and then I died pitifully because I actually ran into Voldemort, or not Voldemort, wow. I actually ran into the main boss, and he absolutely trashed me. I did not know how on earth I was going to beat him because he basically murdered my health with every little attack he used. So we're going to upgrade our swords, and it gives you a little happy dancing music there. And now I have extra slash damage, extra hit chance, and extra the red, whatever that was. I'm going to actually look at that right now to figure out. And while your character's inactive, he just kind of sits there and plays video games, which is video gameception. Ah, the counter chance. So essentially, if you get hit, there's a proc chance of you actually hitting them back. So it's just like a little bit of extra damage, and the worst possible thing happened. The trap blew up in my face, and now while I was standing in that cloud, it would hurt me, but I've escaped, and it'll dissipate after a few turns. And see, there it is. And so all I can really do is keep pressing up. Ah, perfect timing. I found a salesman, and oh my goodness, he has a lot of stuff. And so in here, you can... the shops are randomly sized. You won't always find the same kind of shop, and so you'll have to just kind of wander throughout the store, or you'll just have to kind of wander around throughout the dungeon and look for various different things. Now, that is an amazing ring, but unfortunately it is insanely expensive, and it does not work. And as another thing, you can actually steal from this guy, but it's highly unrecommended because he has these almost pretty much impossible to kill goons, and at my level it is not worth trying to do that. And so for now, I will just look around, see if there's anything I can afford. I could afford a belt. And other than that, all I can really do is sell stuff to him, and I think I have to sell my dragon. Ah, okay. There we are. So I can just sell him some random bits and bobs real quick. And as I progress, if there's anything you guys feel as though I should... Oh, and I forgot, if you click on a certain area, your character will automatically walk all that way. If there's anything you feel as though I should leave out, like inventory management and certain things, I can always stop videos, edit out parts or something like that. I'm not going to hold on to this mace. I'm going to keep the crossbow. I'm going to keep all my regents because they are very handy for making things. And now I'm going to go back into my character menu. and also bring up my inventory because I'm not wearing any shoes. I'm walking barefoot, possibly stepping on nails that would give me toxic damage. Not really. Actually, I think... Yes, I can also have my crossbow equipped already, which that was stupid of me. Taking up some inventory space. Okay. Alrighty. Alright, that's a crafting system thing that we'll get to later, a little bit later down the line. And let's see, is there anything I've got 400 Zorkanids now, so I could buy something. The yellow slashes are actually dodge chance, I believe. So, based on your character's layout, it's usually a good idea to have certain things. Like, if you don't have the armor and block chance and you're not carrying around a shield, it would probably be a good idea to get things that increase your dodge chance instead of straight out damage. And I can't pick up the Bardiche because it's expensive. Well, not gonna afford it, but I just don't have the skill in it. Ooh, that would have been a nice upgrade. It reduces my hit chance, but yeah, sadly it's not gonna work. Cranky crossbow I can actually build. I built it one time in one of my playthroughs on the game. This would have been really nice to have. It gives lots of pierce resistance, but it reduces your agility. It gives you a lot of block chance and a lot of dodge or whatever the white one was. I'm already forgetting. And you'll also find that I tend to forget things rather rapidly, or like I'll be talking about something and then I'll stop and then I don't remember what I was talking about, and that tends to happen quite a bit. This is obviously a call out to Lord of the Rings, more than likely. Orc Slasher, Slasher of Orcs, and it's the best axe that was ever a sword. And it's considered a sword, even though it looks kind of axey, and I guess that was the idea. The developers thought it would be a funny idea to toss in a sword that they thought looked like an axe in Lord of the Rings. Man, I really need to fix this UI, and I will attempt to do that after this recording session. Okay, he activated a trap that he did not get hit by, and I'm just mincemeating all these little diggles. They're pretty weak, they're not very tough, and this was a diggle nest, so it's natural that they're gonna attempt to attack you when you open the door to their nest. Alright. Apparently these are things that I've never seen before because I don't remember them. And I'm going to continue to smash things. I got a bone club, an electrum ingot. I think that's mostly for tinkering. I think it works in blacksmithing, but not as much. As you can see, flying enemies will fly over obstacles, and sometimes you'll find nice little treasure rooms. Ooh, I can actually disarm the IEDs. That's actually cool. Alright, some bronze bolts. Toss them in my inventory. A crude blade trap. You can build a lot of the traps that are in the game, which is nice. And picking up ammunition early on is pretty good because we can kite enemies, which we'll have to do a lot of. I really need to find some lockpicks because I'm probably not going to get anything. Ooh, there we go. Armor. Perfect. And I think that's, if I recall, putrefying. Ah, okay. So that's kind of like disease, I guess you could call it, is another one you could probably call this thing. And it basically just is another damage type, and it actually apparently added on damage. Oh yeah, actually that's another thing I forgot to mention. When you see circles, that means it's a resistance bonus, but when it's a, or